Alright, what's going on YouTube? Today we're going to finish a project that I started a couple months ago. So I did the how-to video on the snorkel, but there's two parts to that. One part is the snorkel install. Second part of that is relocating your washer bottle. So this is a 2001 with ABS, so I don't have any room to do the relocation bottle that goes right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move the bottle from this side to this side. Haven't seen a video on it done yet, but I'm going to do it myself and take you along the way with me, and we'll do it together. So this is a bottle that came from the other side. Does have to be modified somewhat. So what I did was, this used to be, put this right here. This used to be your filler neck. So that came through this hole right there. Oh geez, kicking everything over. So that used to come in right here, and this cap was right here. These are both 1 3/8 holes, as you can see. So I took out the cap that was right there. I don't know if I still have it, I probably threw it out. But I took this out, so it was just a hole like this, and I popped this black piece from here to here. And then what I'm going to do is get another one, put it right here, cut a hole in it with some tube in like a 90 degrees so it'll come out and then up this way. And I'm thinking about running it through this hole right here. So this is going to sit in there like that. And you have your connections down here. So then this, when it comes over, should be pretty close to that. Might take forever to fill up, but better than nothing. You get your stock pumps, good capacity with this big container, so planning on using this still. But modifications I had to do to the inside of the fender well, because there are screws that hold your, this in place, this bracket. So what I had to do when I was test fitting it, you can see there's gouges. So I took out this screw, and this screw, and I shaved down the points on them so they were flat. And this used to be a ground. I don't know what to. There was nothing on it. It was just a bolt. So that was right here in this hole. So I took that out, and that made a lot of room. So go over it again. So you got your ground, 2 screws, another screw, so that's 4 screws. And when you do that, and you have to undo plastic inner fender and this bracket that holds your fender. So when we finally get it all in there, oops, gotta do it this way. So you have to pull back on this part of the fender, slide it forward, and there you go. Sits up in there nice and clean. This will tuck back up. Meet that back up where you can mount that again. Got your connections right here, and this is still easy to pop these out if you got to replace a pump or the sensor. But that's at least a start, and I'll finish up and show you the rest of what I did when I get closer to being done. And then obviously you'll have to move your wires and your little tubes for the front and back if you have back, which I think all these have them, but back windshield sprayers. But it's at least what I've done so far, and it's come across pretty clean. I wanted to do it kind of right. So alright, we'll keep going, and I'll get you back here in just a minute. Alright, so we got the bottle in place. You can see it right here. This still isn't mounted yet. But there's the back side of the bottle holding onto the fender support with a zip tie. Here's the front being held on with a zip tie as well. I'm thinking I can use zip ties to mount it, but if not, then I will make brackets to hold it in place. So I ended up ditching my attempt to use that top opening in the bottle. I was going to drill through here, but it was just too tight of an angle, and the tube was getting bent, so I ended up drilling a hole in the side and actually found that filler plate. I think it's 1 3/8 inch at Lowe's. It's called like a test cap. You can find them in the plumbing area. So I bought another one and filled the opening that was in the top of the bottle. This is just some water line to fill it, to test it. I extended my connections across, so you got 7 connections, or 7 wires total. 2 of them are for a sensor, the other 5 are for your pumps. And I have my front and rear tubes, which I'm actually going to finish here in just a second. So when you move everything over, like I said, this is pretty much about it. You're going to want to move your factory filler cap, remove it, and then move either move the little cap that's in there, or and get another one, or just put one in that initial spot. So remember, you got to trim the tips off these screws so you don't puncture anything, and the bottle just slid right in there. Didn't have to, other than the screws, I didn't have to cut anything out of the inside. Everything went in pretty smoothly, and I tested it. I kind of worked on this last night, so it's been a couple days since the video you saw just a second ago. But yeah, so wires, water lines are hooked up, and everything's good to go. All we have to do is just finish hooking these up to the factory water lines. And when I tested it last night, you know, front and rear came out here. So when we hook it up, obviously it'll come out of the windshield in the back. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. It didn't take that long. I think total, I want to say it didn't take that long. I spent a lot of time figuring it out and taking my time on it, so I wasn't in a rush. But if you literally put your snorkel in, the time to actually relocate the bottle would take maybe a couple hours, not that much, and maybe about $20. And you know, you got tubes. So the factory tube is actually 3/8 inch outside diameter and 0.170 internal diameter. The tube I used is 1/4 outside and 0.170 inside, so the same internal diameter, but this is actually smaller external diameter. So I had to actually get an adapter so it fit from this line to the other line, you know, the factory water line. But other than that, that's about it. As far as like specifications, so these 7 wires are 5 feet across, and they fit perfectly. I've got maybe a couple inches of spare just in case. These 2 are 5 foot also, and a couple inches extra. And everything is pretty much right here, factory, right below here, all your factory connections. So I just ran them up here. I'm gonna clean everything up, and they run right down here. And the pump, the 2 pumps actually, hopefully you can see that, 2 pumps in the sensor are right there. But pretty easy. Like I said, for someone who has a newer XJ with a snorkel that wants to keep their washer bottle, and you know, they have ABS or whatever, you can't put one of those other bottles under the hood. This will work great for you. Didn't take that long, pretty easy. Not a lot of custom work done, but definitely doable. But hopefully this helps someone out. Thanks guys, we'll see you on the next one.